There was a subway on top, and some other places that were not savory, so you didn't want to walk. But I didn't have to walk much. The school was across the street.
So you would take the subway or the bus from Brooklyn?
To go home,
Uh-huh.
that was the worst for me,
What, the subway?
the subway. To go home at night, it was,
Did you go home you worked, well, probably it was just dark by the time you finished your
What?
job. It was already, didn't really work at night, did you? It was
I
just,
never worked at night.
No.
I went to school at night.
Mhm.
What was the business that you were secretary for this couple? What was their business?
Surgical supply
Okay,
house.
that's right.
They sold everything to hospitals and doctors.
Do you remember their names, the couple?
My boss,
Yeah.
Were they Jewish?
yes, two brothers.
What kind of jobs did you do it?
I started, they would train me there. I didn't know anything, I was
Did you know how
very
to type?
inexperienced.
Did you know how to type?
I took a commercial course, so that's what I did.
You do shorthand,
Yes,
like a
yes.
stenographer?
Shorthand, yes, and I typed what I wrote, you know.
Did you enjoy working there?
I loved it.
Yeah. What did
I
you?
hated stopping. I just hated stopping.
Why did you stop?
I got married.
Oh, that's
And
why
he-
you stopped?
Solomon, he didn't want me to work the minute he married me. He was ashamed because he was friends with very, very rich people, and their wives didn't work, and didn't want me to work.
So you got married what year?
1944.
So we were here already. We
What
were-
did
huh?
you, Celia? What did you love about working so much? What was so
The
enjoyable?
people that I worked with. The people that I worked with loved me. They did everything for me.
So,
And we all did everything together. We went for lunch together. We had parties in the office. Everything was like family.
Yeah, friendships have always been important to you throughout your life.
I went back to see them a few times after, when I went to New York. Of course, I went
have a
back to
wedding
New York
picture.
and saw them.
What were you studying at NYU when you were taking classes at night? What were you studying at New York University?
NYU?
Comments
Yes.
or something.
Well, that's where I took
I have that picture.
Really?
my commercial course.
Your
The
commercial course.
Picture of Saul and
At
Celia.
college too? You were
Yeah.
studying
Very
commercial?
young.
Yeah.
Marriage, the day
Did
of
you,
their
that's
marriage.
their wedding,
Ah,
ever have
their wedding
ideas
picture.
that what you wanted to be, or you
Solomon's
wanted to be a secretary?
mother's
I
and
wanted
father's
to be a
house.
secretary.
Yeah.
I always wanted, and that's why
Was in the
I
house?
always worked
I
with the
vaguely
commercial
remember. I
course.
don't know.
So do you remember, like you said, you graduated in 1934, and then, and you got married in 1944.
Right.
So in between that period, the war broke out in Europe. So do you remember what your parents' reaction was, what your parents were talking
Well,
about?
they were so happy that they were here that they escaped Hitler in that era. But of course they were worried at that time that Sister Jenny was in Vienna.
Was there communication between Jenny and the
My
family?
father all the time. My father sent money all the time. He was wonderful to Jenny.
He
Yeah.
sent,
Yeah.
sent Bubby money.
He sent the money to
Every
his
month.
sister,
Yeah.
who support,
Right.
with whom she stayed. And she came to visit us.
Who did?
My father's sister.
Tante Hemi?
Yes, oh, she came to Poland to visit us.
Oh, to Poland.
Yeah.
Tante Hemi, yeah.
No,
But how did you feel being in America and knowing that your friends and your family, your cousins were back being,
well, I felt badly, but I didn't think about it. I was just happy with my own life.
Well, you probably, You didn't know what was really going on there at the
Well,
time, right?
I wasn't totally ignorant. We listened to the radio. Later on, we had TV. You know, but I wasn't really interested in politics.
Do you remember what your parents were doing to help us come?
Well, I know my father helped a lot. Your mother and dad could not come here without my father support.
They gave us an affidavit. Do you remember that? They sent us an affidavit.
It
We
sounds familiar,
We
but I
were
don't
we were in
remember.
Belgium, and
You remember?
yeah, we were in I was little. I was 4. We were in Belgium, both, and no one could come to America unless they had this magic piece of paper, an affidavit.
Oh, probably.
And that was-
they'd be taken
Sponsored.
care of.
Right,
Sponsors.
he was agreeing to support us.
Oh,
and
they
then-
had difficulty getting the document.
They had a lot of difficulty
A lot of
getting it.
difficulty to get it.
And at one time, my father had said, well, if he can't get it for the whole family, get it just for me, and then I'll come over and I'll bring the rest of them over.
Yeah.
But your father didn't want to do that. He didn't want just my father to come over.
Well, he
Do you
wanted his
remember
daughter.
that?
He wanted,
Do
no,
you
I
remember
don't-
them talking about that or anything?
No, I don't remember that. I just know how desperate my father was to bring over Jenny,
And then-
my sister.
And then we got it, and we were able to get, to get on the boat. Do you remember when we came? Do you remember when we arrived in the, do you know if we came to Ellis Island or not?
No, Ellis Island
No,
was closed.
you didn't have to go to
No.
Ellis Island.
We went to
No.
Hoboken, that's when my mother said.
Ellis Island was closed.
I think so.
But it says on the admittance, it says New York.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Well,
say New
maybe,
Jersey.
well, maybe they embarked, they went to
Oh,
New
you
York in
came
that sense.
through there was an organization called HIAS.
Hebrew Immigration, something society.
Aid
Yeah.
You
Society.
came through
Aid.
them.
Oh, Hebrew Immigration Aid Society.
Oh,
Yes.
really?
Yeah.
Through them you came. They had, I don't remember.
They were very big. I remember it was a very big organization.
Oh, they saved millions of Jews, that organization did.
So did you go to the boat when we came? Do you remember? If you went to the,
I don't remember if I went to the boat.
do you remember when we came, Eileen? I mean, not
I-
the moment, but just
No,
when I
well,
came to
my first memory
Yeah.
is when my mother was in the hospital with having my brother, and your poor mother, I had chicken pox. That's my first
Who
memory.
had chicken pox?
I did.
You had chicken
And
pox.
they put these net gloves on me. Now, your mother didn't speak English. And I carried on because she touched the new refrigerator.
Oh.
And I went crazy screaming at her. And this is the story I heard even from Aunt Frida. But your mother let you sit in the bed with me to shut me up to play with me. Because I was like the new refrigerator, in those days, And my mother wasn't there. I didn't know your mother from anything.
Was I living there then?
I don't think you were living with us, but
We lived
She
with
took
you for
care-
a short time.
that I don't. I
Do you
do
remember that?
remember.
Yes, I remember.
But this was we lived
Better.
then behind a hardware store.
That what?
We lived behind a hardware store at that time. And I remember the front room was a huge front room, which was like a living room and a kitchen. And then when you walked into the so-called apartment, was my parents' bedroom, and then I had a bedroom.
Wait, you didn't live in the house?
This
on
is not in the
56?
house when my mother gave birth. My father didn't move into the house until Uncle Irving moved out. And then they moved
Yeah,
in
there was no
downstairs.
room.
Oh.
And I remember your father I remember Stevie, they had a piano. There was a big piano.
Yes.
And I remember Stevie could sit and play at the piano. I mean, we were small kids, and I remember he had like a musical ear. And they took the piano and destroyed it.
Who did?
Who?
Probably Grandpa and Uncle Irving, and well, they took out the whole guts from it and made like a double desk for when they went to school. They would each have one here for the piano as a desk. But your father bought me my first bed.
Your first.
My first bed. I remember I could see this bed now in my mind. My first grown-up bed he bought for me. but we lived downstairs, but that's, you know, after they moved out.
But when we came, you were living in the house.
No, we were living behind, do you remember Hilda, they had a hardware store? We were
Yes.
living behind that
Yeah,
hardware store.
Yeah, I remember.
So when we came, I know we lived with you for a while. Do you remember?
Yeah,
Probably
for
in
a
the
short
house.
time.
In the house.
A short
Do you
time.
know why we moved out or anything? Why we
Well,
left?
you wanted to be, it was very crowded, number one, and you know, my parents didn't get along so well with your father.
They didn't care for my
The
father
main-
either right away.
The main reason was that.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why didn't they get along with my father, do you think?
Yeah, who knows?
Do you remember
It's a
anything?
difficult answer. Your father was
He's a different
Radical?
personality.
No, he's
No.
very handsome.
Was it
well, that didn't
would you use the word
that
radical?
didn't,
No,
no,
not right. He was
not
a,
right.
he was a
Let her.
He liked to live rich. Shodo.
man of the
a big
streets,
show.
of the
Yeah.
cafe,
That's what
cafe house.
my father was.
That's how your father
Bohemian,
thought of
maybe?
him.
Yeah.
But my father worked, didn't he, when he was there, or I
Well,
don't remember.
he always worked.
Yeah,
Yes, he always worked. But he spent more than he made.
How long were you in Brooklyn before you came to California, do you remember?
about 2 years, I
See,
think.
the story I heard was the reason why you guys moved here
Yeah,
was that you were very skinny and somebody told your father if you went to California you'd get heavy fat because there was a lot of sunshine
I don't
And
think I was ever
healthy.
skinny.
and healthy. Yeah, I have a picture of you in a bathing suit. When we were little kids and we were all skinny minis. Actually, Judy was the one with the pot belly.
But Celia, do you remember? I know you don't remember greeting them when they came. When my mother and her parents, your sister came over on the boat. But do you remember meeting Hugo for the first time and seeing your sister after so many years?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. I remember it.
What was that like for you to see your sister after not seeing her for so many years? Did you remember her?
You know, not very well, because we were not together that much
That's true.
before we came over. You know, she lived many years in Vienna. No, it was, I don't remember my feelings, whether I was happy or not happy. I know my father was extremely happy.
Had you met my father before, or was this the first time the whole family met him? Had anyone met him
No,
before?
how could we have, he never came to Brooklyn.
He
Or
never
to
came
Poland?
to Poland, yeah.
He
So
never
no,
came to Poland, no.
and none of you ever came to Vienna?
No.
No,
Only when I was extremely young.
before my
I-
So
mother
your
met him.
parents got married after they came to the States?
Who?
Your mother and father?
No.
No,
No?
no. They actually got married in Vienna, but it was Jewish, it was not official. And then in order to come to America, they had to have a real marriage certificate, so they got married again in
So then your mother's parents, our grandmother and grandfather were not at the wedding, the Jewish wedding either.
No, no.
What was? Do you remember your impressions of Hugo when you first met him? You said your parents didn't like him that much. What about you?
Well, I don't think I paid much attention. I know I was happy that they were there because my father was extremely happy that his daughter
First daughter.
was finally, you know, he missed her a lot. He let her stay in Vienna because he felt sorry for his sister. She was alone. And he, you know, and he knew she would have a nice life there. But no, that part just, I remember liking Hugo. I do remember. I remember that I went with him to a couple of concerts.
Or movies or concerts.
Yeah, concerts.